Hello and welcome to a Chessima Chess. In the hit Netflix series The Queen's Gambit, we see Elizabeth Harmon going into the high school library where she finds a book about chess. That is where she learns the meaning of the word chess grandmaster.
A genius player.
And that book is My Chess Career by José Raul Capablanca, the supreme Cuban chess genius. It is this book. And it's a testament to how awesome the series is. That if you flip through this book, let's see if I can find. Yes, here it is. We see these pages, the period of transition in the series. And that is very much the kind of book that you would find in the chess section of a library in the 60s. It was written shortly before Capablanca became world champion in 1927. And I'm going to read you a little bit of the introduction before we get on to the game, so that you may have some appreciation for who Capablanca was. I read from chapter 1, introductory. I was born in Havana, the capital of the island of Cuba, the 19th of November, 1888. I was not yet 5 years old when, by accident, I came into my father's private office and found him playing with another gentleman. I had never seen a game of chess before. The pieces interested me, and I went the next day to see them play again. The third day, as I looked on, my father, a very poor beginner, moved the knight from a white square to another white square. His opponent, apparently not a better player, did not notice it. My father won, and I proceeded to call him a cheat and to laugh. After a little wrangle, during which I was nearly put out of the room, I showed my father what he had done. He asked me how and what I knew about chess. I answered that I could beat him. He said that was impossible, considering that I could not even set the pieces correctly. We tried conclusions, and I won. That was my beginning. José Raul Capablanca went on to become world champion, and he is universally hailed as one of the absolute best players to ever play the game. He went to America, to the United States of America, and there he played the American legend Frank Marshall. You may know the Marshall Chess Club in Manhattan. It's named after him. And Marshall lost a match against Capablanca in the early part of their rivalry. And so he came up with an opening idea, a novelty. that he worked on for 8 years before he had a chance to spring it on Capablanca. He had the black pieces, Capablanca, with the white pieces. And I hope you are ready to relax, because the supreme calm with which Capablanca handled this opening surprise is true chess beauty, and it's very calming. Capablanca opened up with pawn to e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop to b5, attacking the knight. And here we have the Ruy Lopez, or the Spanish game. Marshall kicks the bishop with a6. The bishop retreats. Bishop a4. And Marshall develops another knight. This attacks the pawn, but this can't be ignored. And Capablanca castles. Bishop to e7, rook to e1, now protecting the pawn. We kick the bishop again with b5. The bishop retreats once again. Bishop to b3, and now black castles. And I will read a little bit from the book in where Capablanca describes how he felt during the game. This was my second surprise. I now felt that Marshall had prepared something for me, expecting me to play bishop to queen 5. Therefore, without hesitation, I played my next move. And here he played c3. And here it is. A move that made chess history. d5 from black. This was never seen before at the time, in 1918, when this game was played. And it is now known as the Marshall attack. Notice that it's called an attack. Usually, every opening for black is called the something defense. The Sicilian defense, the Slav defense, the French defense, and so on. But not this one. This one is the Marshall attack. And what an attack it is. Let's see what Capablanca has to say. Now I was sure that I had fallen into a prepared variation. I thought for a little while before playing my next move, knowing that I would be subjected thereafter to a terrific attack, all the lines of which would be of necessity familiar to my adversary. The lust for battle, however, had been aroused within me. I felt that my judgment and skill were being challenged by a player who had every reason to fear both, but who wanted to take advantage of the element of surprise and of the fact of me being unfamiliar with a thing to which he had devoted many a night of of toil and hard work. I considered the position then and decided that I was in honor bound, so to speak, to take the pawn and accept the challenge, as my knowledge and judgment told me that my position should be defensible. So this is a gambit, and Marshall has offered up this d5 pawn, and Capablanca is very calm, and he says, I can defend this, no problem. I will capture your pawn. Now I have a pawn in the bag. What do you have to show for it? Alright, so Capablanca have now played e takes d5. We see knight takes d5, knight takes e5, knight takes e5, and rook takes e5. So a lot of stuff happened there. Okay. So now that the dust have settled, let's take a look at what that was all about. All these pieces flew off the table, and white is a pawn ahead in the material count. And black's whole idea is to look at the move c3 that white played, which is preparing d4 and has a very deep strategical and positional idea, and say, I'm going to make that irrelevant. I'm going to make that whole strategical concept irrelevant by exploding the center and starting a kingside attack immediately, so you will have wasted time on your c3 move there. So how strong is this kingside attack? Let's take a look. First, we notice that the rook is attacking the knight. The bishop is also attacking the knight. So the knight goes back to f6. And here Capablanca plays a very classy, very calm move. So imagine how cool a head you need to have to be able to look at this situation and say, yeah, I'm going to play rook back to e1. That is next level calm. So the point is that he knew Marshall would play bishop to d6. That would have won a tempo on the rook. Capablanca said, I will prophylactically move the rook so you don't win the tempo. So now I have time to play h3. And what does this do? Does it prevent this knight from coming in here? Well, not really, because Marshall played knight to g4. And this cannot really be taken, because the queen would swoop in to h4 and coordinating an attack with the bishop on c6 and the bishop on c8. And that would be too much. So instead, Capablanca played queen to f3. This helps protect the king. Incidentally, it also attacks this rook, but that's not so relevant actually. Now we see the queen fly in with the queen to h4. And it is here we see the true genius of Capablanca. Remember, Marshall had worked on this opening idea for 8 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Capablanca faced it over the board and very, very calmly said, yeah, you know what I need to play here? With all this going on, I need to play d5 because I need to free this bishop and I need to make an escape square here and here for my king. It's just amazing. And look what happens. Marshall plays knight takes f2, and maybe you can capture this knight, but that would, Capablanca said, that would lead to a draw. There was a risk that would lead to a draw, and the modern chess computers agrees and says if you capture the knight with the queen with a perfect play, black will obtain a draw. And Capablanca was not trying to draw this game with these defensive moves. He was not trying to draw, or no, he was trying to win. Ever since he accepted this game, but there's no doubt in his mind that he was playing for a win here. So he plays rook to e2, preparing to capture this knight. And now we see bishop to g4, attacking the queen and the rook. And that is why the pawn went to h3, because this pawn is meant to capture the bishop. Pawn takes g4. And now the fireworks begin. Bishop h2 check. King f1. And bishop g3. Looks like it's protecting the knight. And it is. But more importantly, it clears the way for the queen. So that after rook takes knight on f2, black can play queen h1, check, king e2, getting out of the check. And now black captures the rook on e2 with the bishop. And interestingly, black is not afraid this bishop will be recaptured. White cannot afford to recapture this bishop, because he has to save this important bishop that's under fire from the queen. So he plays bishop d2. Now white is threatening to capture this bishop. So Marshall plays bishop to h4. And I am in awe of how calm and collected Capablanca have been in this game, with all these crazy attacking moves and this exposed king. And he's just saying, no, I'm winning. I'm not even really defending. All my defensive moves are just getting myself into position to win this game. Working that out over the board is just unbelievable. Capablanca played queen to h3. This attacks the queen and the bishop, threatening to trade the queens, which of course would mean the end of Marshall's attack. But Marshall had more firepower, namely this rook on a8. He played rook to e8. This checks the king. King has to move. King goes to d3, which it can because of the brilliant d4 move earlier. But now the queen can get out with a check. Queen f1 checks the king, and the king goes to c2. Has it all under control. Now we need to save this bishop. Black needs to save the bishop, so he plays bishop f2, like so. So you can see it. Black managed to destroy White's kingside completely. It's gone. But now Capablanca just built himself a new fortress over here on the queen side. Now he plays queen to f3. This pins the bishop to the queen. So the queen moves out of the way. So g1. This is both to free up the bishop to move and also to support it, because he's looking at this long dark square diagonal. He wants to play c5. Capablanca looks at the cramped position of his pieces, the rook and the knight over here in the corner, and says, okay, I will have to get them involved in the battle. So he first moves the bishop. Bishop d5. Now these pawns can roll forward and the rook and the knight can escape. Marshall plays c5. D takes c. Bishop takes c5. And b4. Attacking the bishop, which of course is only possible because he moved the bishop from b3, where it was blocking the pawn. Bishop d6. And now you can really see that the magnificent attack has been repelled by the brilliant, brilliant Cuban genius. It's time for Capablanca to seize the initiative now. So he plays a4. He wants to get this rook involved in the game. We say a5 from black. A takes b. A takes b. And a little in-between move here. Rook to a6, attacking the bishop. The in-between move is answered by an in-between move. B takes c. Knight takes c3. And now this bishop really is attacked. We have to do something about it. Bishop to b4, attacking the knight. But the rook coming to a6 had a further point. Besides attacking the bishop, it also wanted to protect b6, because remember that's protected by the queen, so that white can now play b6, saying, you know what, I repelled your attack, I'm just going to make a new queen. Rather desperately, Marshall plays bishop takes knight on c3. White answers bishop takes bishop on c3. And black tries one last little thing. He goes h6, creating some air, Luft as we call it, in chess terminology. It's German. It means air, to create Luft for the king in escape square. The pawn rolls forward. b2. Oh, excuse me. That's not b2. That's b7. Pawn to b7. And now black plays rook to e3, superficially attacking the queen. And here Capablanca ends the game in swift manner. Can you find the winning move? Bishop takes f7, check. And Marshall resigns. Just an absolutely incredible performance by the Cuban genius. So maybe I should explain why Capablanca resigned. First of all, you cannot capture this bishop because we can make a new queen or play rook check, and that would check the king. You cannot go back with the rook, we will just capture it with the queen. That would be checkmate. You cannot go to the corner, you cannot go to h8, because let me just show you what's the winning move. Rook takes h6, checkmate. You cannot capture the rook because it's pinned. The pawn is pinned by the bishop. Also, you cannot go to h7. Here follows just queen check, and there's no escape. So that's the game. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you maybe dozed off to sleep or found some inspiration for some freemium relaxation in the supreme calm of Capablanca's moves. I can really recommend looking over some of his games. He just plays in this unassuming, quiet, relaxed manner, and his moves are just so simple, and they're just always so good. You'll be hard pressed to find games that Capablanca lost even. There was a period of 10 years where he lost one single game in a period of 8 years. 10 years, I'm sorry. Like, he also became world champion without losing a single game against Emanuel Lasker that he won the title from. And Emanuel Lasker was no joke, let me tell you that. And I think I will end this video with a nice quote from Emanuel Lasker about Capablanca. He said that I have known many masters, but only one genius, Capablanca. So thank you for watching. I wish you all the best. Please like, subscribe, comment if you want to support the video or support the channel. All the best to all of you guys. Bye.